I served this country for 22 years. 2 deployments to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan. I came back with a limp, a Purple Heart, and the conviction that I'd earned the right to live in peace, and maybe put up a flag if I damn well pleased. That's why, when I bought the little colonial house on Cedar Ridge Lane, the first thing I did was mount the American flag bracket on the porch column. Nothing dramatic. No neon lights. Just an honest symbol of the only thing that kept me sane during the worst years of my life. It lasted all of 6 days. On the 7th morning, there was an envelope tucked into my front door. Cream-colored, heavy paper. HOA stationery. Dear Mr. Cole, we appreciate your dedication to the community, and welcome you to Cedar Ridge Estates. However, your display of national symbols, namely the United States flag, is not in accordance with HOA Regulation 7.2.4, which mandates uniform porch aesthetics and prohibits any non-approved signage or paraphernalia. Please remove the flag within 48 hours to avoid fines. Respectfully, Melissa Harcourt, HOA President. I blinked. Reread it twice. Remove the flag? The American flag? In my own damn house? My first instinct was to laugh. My second was to burn the letter. But instead, I walked outside, looked at the flag, still and proud in the summer breeze, and decided something else. I wasn't going to move that flag. Not 1 inch. On the 3rd day after the letter, a bright orange notice was taped to my front door. Non-compliance warning, $250 fine issued. Failure to remove unauthorized paraphernalia, U.S. flag, in accordance with Section 7.2.4 has resulted in the imposition of a community compliance fee. It was signed again by Melissa Harcourt. I took it down, shook my head, and walked to the garage. I wasn't going to pay a cent. 2 more notices came in the next week. One for an escalated infraction, now $500. Then another, $750. My mailbox was starting to look like a legal threat dispenser. I decided it was time to respond. I wrote a letter of my own, short and polite. Dear Ms. Harcourt, thank you for your concern. However, I believe Section 7.2.4 of your regulation is in direct conflict with the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act of 2005, a federal statute which prohibits restrictions on flag displays on residential property. I respectfully decline your request. Best regards. James Cole. I sent it certified mail. Tracked. Delivered. No response. But the notices kept coming. 3 days later, I was in the front yard watering the flowers when a soft voice startled me. Excuse me, are you Mr. Cole? I turned. A woman in her 60s stood on the sidewalk. Neatly dressed, calm, but her eyes darted nervously. Yes, I said. She hesitated, then stepped closer. My name's Linda. I live down the street. I saw the flag thing, in the letters. I just wanted to say, thank you. For keeping it up. I raised an eyebrow. You're not with the HOA? Her face tightened. God, no. I used to be. Melissa, she took over everything. The board barely votes anymore. She writes her own rules. She looked around, dropped her voice to a whisper. And you're right. That federal law? I looked it up. You're protected. They just hope you won't fight. I nodded slowly. They picked the wrong veteran. She smiled, something sparking in her expression. You know, I still have a copy of the old bylaws. The real ones. Before Melissa rewrote them. I smiled back. Would you mind bringing them by? She winked. Already in my purse. A week after Linda gave me the original bylaws, printed, dated, and stamped, I received another envelope. This one was thicker. Inside was a formal notice of intent to pursue legal action from the Cedar Ridge Estates Homeowners Association, signed again by Melissa Harcourt, and new name, Randall C. Pratt, ESQ. It read, Your continued refusal to comply with HOA Regulation 7.2.4 and associated compliance requests constitutes a direct violation of community guidelines. Legal counsel has been retained. You are hereby notified that if the unauthorized flag is not removed within 10 days of receipt of this notice, the HOA will initiate formal litigation for noncompliance, seek injunctive relief, and demand reimbursement of legal expenses incurred. At the bottom, a typed list of projected fees. Over $4,000. I laughed. Out loud. For the first time in 2 weeks. I called a lawyer of my own, Jacob Irons. Friend of a friend. Marine, now turned housing law specialist. I emailed him everything, the letters, the bylaws, the photos of the flag, the correspondence with Linda. He replied within hours. You're in the clear. She's bluffing. That regulation's unenforceable. Want to fight? I wrote back, hell yes. Jacob drafted a response, 1 page long and lethal. Dear Ms. Harcourt, your actions constitute a willful and knowing violation of federal law, namely the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act of 2005. Should you choose to pursue litigation, we will countersue for harassment, emotional distress, and civil rights violation under applicable state and federal provisions. We suggest immediate cessation of further correspondence regarding the flag, unless it is an apology. Govern yourself accordingly. We send it via certified mail, email, and, for dramatic effect, hand delivery by courier. 3 days of silence. Then, another letter, this time not from Melissa. It was from a man named Brian Keller. HOA board member. One of the real ones, Linda said. Someone Melissa had sidelined long ago. His letter was handwritten. Mr. Cole. I'm ashamed to say I didn't know how far things had gone. Melissa has been making unilateral decisions without proper board votes. Several of us want to speak to you, off the record. Would you be willing to meet? I picked up the phone and called Jacob. Time to flip the whole board, I said. He grinned through the phone. Let's flip the damn neighborhood. We met in Linda's backyard. 5 people. No phones. No notes. Just voices, eyes, and tension thick in the air. Brian Keller. Linda. 2 other board members, Maria and Charles, and me. I didn't vote for her, Maria said first. She just took control. 1 month she started bringing her own proposals. Next month she told us voting was optional. She's rewritten sections of the charter, Charles added. She keeps all the digital access, passwords, hosting, mailing list. It's not even our HOA anymore. It's hers. Linda nodded. And she's been using the compliance fines to hire legal counsel without a board vote. That's likely embezzlement. Brian turned to me. You stood your ground. Most of us didn't. I want to fix that. I looked around the group. All older than me. All tired. All fed up. Then we go by the book, I said. What does the original charter say about board elections? Maria opened a binder, the old one Linda gave me. 1/3 of the board can initiate a recall vote with signatures from 10% of homeowners. If the majority votes yes, she's out. Charles frowned. She'll challenge it. Jacob, who was listening via speakerphone, cut in. Let her. I'll be there. We'll do it by the book, every step. Transparent. Documented. And when the State Housing Board sees it, they'll back you. Brian nodded. Then it starts now. Over the next 2 weeks, we collected signatures. Dozens. And something strange happened. People, neighbors I had never even spoken to, began coming up to me. I heard about what happened with the flag. That's messed up. Is it true they tried to sue you? My cousin had the same thing happen in Texas. Fought it and won. The absurdity of the flag rule turned into something else, solidarity. Even those who didn't care about the flag? They cared about power abused, rules rewritten, fines weaponized. HOA meetings were normally ghost towns. Now, the next one had 48 people crammed into the clubhouse. Melissa showed up late. When she walked in, the room didn't rise. It stiffened. She saw me in the front row, beside Linda and Brian, with Jacob in a suit and binder. Her smile. Tight. Forced. She knew. The vote was coming. The vote happened on a rainy Tuesday night. HOA bylaws required that votes be done in person or by notarized proxy, so we had volunteers helping elderly neighbors fill out forms. Melissa tried to delay the vote. She stood up, pointed out obscure clauses, called for a procedural audit, even accused Jacob of outside interference. But Linda countered each move. Calmly. Legally. Loudly. When the ballots were counted, twice, the numbers were undeniable. 42 in favor of removal. 6 opposed. Melissa didn't speak. She just stood, shook her head, and walked out of the clubhouse, soaked by the storm. By Friday, Brian was acting president. They restored digital access to the board. Reinstated the original charter. Reviewed all fines from the past 18 months, and refunded over $13,000. Jacob filed a formal grievance with the state, citing HOA misconduct, and the housing board launched an investigation into Melissa's financial records. I didn't press charges. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted my flag. And peace. 1 year later. Same house. Same porch. Same flag, now mounted in a secure bracket with lighting, just as the act allowed. I sit outside most evenings. Linda sometimes joins me. So do Brian and Maria. We play cards, drink sweet tea, talk about nothing. The neighborhood isn't perfect. But it's ours again. And I still get letters, veterans, homeowners, strangers. Some send pictures of their flags. Some just say, "Thanks for standing your ground. You helped more than you know."